negative A equals B minus C. So if I take, now it's important, I want to point out here, you have this negative A, and then you notice that the additives are reversed, and then here we have the opposite sign, because it's like taking this entire equation and multiplying it by -1. Now, here are the properties of numbers. In the beginning of the video, I showed you that A times 1 equals 1A, or just A. Now here, likewise, or we have, or you would say A equals 1A, or the factor of 1 and A. Here, negative A equals negative 1A, which equals a factor of -1 times A. Okay? So here we're looking at this. So we're looking at the negative number A. This equals -1 times A equals B minus C. -1. Here, A is still not isolated. Whenever you have a negative sign by it, that means that variable isn't isolated. You still know what it equals. We still do not know what A equals. We know what negative A equals, but we do not know what A equals from this equation. It equals this. I'm going to show you how. Now here, -1 and A are factors, or negative A equals -1A equals the product of -1 and A. The product with a T. Negative A equals -1A, or the product of A and -1. Meaning -1 and A here are called factors, or multiples, as opposed to additives. Here, -1 is a fraction that is functioning as a multiple. Here, -1 is on the left side of the equation that is functioning as a multiple. It's still a factor, and when I move it to the other side of the equation, we still consider it a factor. However, on the left side of the equation, it's being multiplied to A, therefore it's functioning as a multiple. When we move this -1 to the other side of the equation, the right side of the equation is going to function as a divisor. So, and now we're going to go into our discussion of, before I show you I want to show you, I should show you now. Now when we move it, negative A equals B minus C. Now, like I said, we have -1 by A, B minus C. Now, all numbers have the property that, where I showed you in the beginning that any term can be written as itself divided by 1, and it's true. Also, you can take it an entire term of an equation. Meaning if I have a plus b, that equals a plus b divided by 1, because dividing a number by 1 does not change the number. Basically, all numbers have that hidden form. So a here is already a divided by 1, or meaning these already have a 1 under them, because it does not change it. So when we move the negativity from a, move it to the other side of the equation, here you see it's on the top of it's on the numerator of this side of the equation. Equations have numerators and denominators. On the left side of the equation, everything on the top is the numerator, even if it's not written. Even when I first gave you a plus b equals c, a plus b equals c is also equal to, this will also be equivalently written as a plus b over 1 equals c over 1. My point here is to show that when we're dealing with factors or multiples, when we move the multiple from the left side of the equation to the right side of the equation, it goes to its opposite position, meaning here it's in the numerator. When I move it over here, it's going to be in the denominator. So that's going to become a over 1 equals b minus c over 1 times negative 1, which we know gives you a negative 1. Now, dividing a number by negative 1 is the same as multiplying it by negative 1. It does the same thing. So, b divided by negative, and then we do both terms here, both b and c. B divided by negative 1 is equivalent to b times 1 over negative 1, which is equivalent to b times a negative 1, which gives you negative b. Okay? Here, the c is negative, being divided by or multiplied by negative 1. So that gives us a positive c. So here, the completion of this, when we get done with this, when we actually calculate this, each term becomes its opposite sign. So here, b becomes negative and c becomes positive. And to simplify this, you have to simplify it. It becomes c minus b. Of 1. We want to talk about the properties of 1. For example, multiplying a number by 1 does not change the number. It does does not change the value of the number. Now, however, multiplying a number by a negative one does change the number.